Hello everyone and welcome back to Southern World. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. As you guys know, it's the only thing that I ask. Now, today's going to be a big week. We have Fed's meeting on Wednesday. The expectation, I think it's like 98% no rate cut. I think that's going to happen. I think there's not going to be any rate cut. I would be very surprised. I think what's going to matter is how strong will the Fed hint at future rate cuts, and also how much he will slam the tariffs. Powell, I mean. So as you know, Powell is not supposed to be politically supposed to be independent. Somehow I've never seen him talk so much about tariffs and the potential effects of tariffs, and with immigration going lower, that can affect the job market, all of this kind of stuff. That sounds very political to me. And also, I always find it funny. They call it immigration. They never call it illegal. See, I've been an immigrant in other countries other than my own. And I've always done it through the process. That's it. So I take special offense if somebody puts me in the same basket as if people crossing into a country, without doing the right thing or doing the process they're supposed to do. So I take special offense to it. So, and by the way, if you believe the Fed is non-partisan or something, then you're not seeing. I mean, I'll just give you this example. Obama was president. He got 0% rates the entire term. As soon as Trump was elected, Janet Yellen raises rates immediately. So no, it's not independent. The data justifies much more cuts now than it used in the past. And I'll just give you this example. The Eurozone, the way they measure inflation in the European Union, they don't account for shelter, which, as you know, it's one of the main components of the CPI. If the US did the same, so if the US excluded shelter, the US inflation would be lower now than the Eurozone inflation. Yet, the ECB, the equivalent of the Fed in Europe, has cut rates 7 times, and the Fed has cut rates twice just before the election when the data didn't really justify it. But somehow, the politically independent Fed decided to cut rates for no good reason, with a marvelous coincidence of the election happening right there, and all of a sudden, as soon as the election was over, no more rate cuts, regardless of what the data says. That's very, very coincidental. Let's call it coincidental. Just for the people that, were born yesterday. So I do expect some fireworks. I do expect some volatility. I have the feeling that we're going to see a trade deal signed or announced this week, but like a real advanced trade deal, not a we are talking, we're going to have one. No, something actually really concrete. Now, will it be the final version, inked and signed? Probably not. But I think it's going to go well beyond, or will give a lot of some certainty to the market. That's my feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, but I am expecting something like that to happen either this week or the next. With which country? I mean, take your guess. Maybe India, maybe Israel, maybe Taiwan, maybe Vietnam, maybe Japan, maybe South Korea, some of like that. That's my feeling, if you ask me. Now, the bond market continues to be under pressure. That's not good, as you guys know. If yields go up, that sucks liquidity out of the system. If yields go down, bonds go up, that's good for the system. So we all know about it. However, the dollar keeps on being red. The market was a little bit red today, less than 1%. Crypto held fine. Bitcoin's around 94K, 94,700 or so. I mean, we just had a massive run. So as I've said, we are supposed to struggle a little bit here. In fact, we were approaching, particularly in the S&P, for example, we were approaching the 50 weekly and the 200 daily, which means a big resistance. And after a massive rally and into the Fed's week, right? Next week is CPI. I get the feeling that it's going to be low 2%, maybe 2.0, 2.1. That's my feeling. How did I get it right last time? I didn't. I followed Trueflation, and Trueflation leads CPI. That's it. So I'm not going to take any credit whatsoever because I'm not the guy doing Trueflation, right? So it would be stupid of me to do that, and to be honest, would make no sense in my view. So as we've said, liquidity conditions keep on improving. They improved quite a bit in the first quarter, which we should start seeing right now. I think June rate cuts looks more likely. The job report looked good, but you know how I feel about these reports. Same for Biden, so I'm very consistent on that. But I do think there's signs of slowing down in the economy. But Powell will play political as usual. So I don't think the rate decisions matters that much. I think it's priced in no rate cut. I think 98.6%, let's call it 100%. And then it's going to fully depend on his speech. I mean, if he ever hints at raising rates, yeah, then you're going to have a real crap show on your heads. Now, if he does it or not, I don't know. I don't think so. That would look very spiteful. If he does cut rates, it looks like he was bullied into it. If he does nothing, he does what the market expects. And then if he says, oh, we're going to cut in June, most likely, if data continues to come like this, then most likely you're going to see, you will see some volatility with the traders, but we will continue in the journey we've been going up until now. Expect some pullbacks. We've had quite the run, both in crypto and in stocks. I've said this before. I'm looking like a hawk to see the stabilization of the bond market. That to me is more important. Dollar growing weaker is actually good. Trueflation shows US inflation at around 1.45%. So that's also very good. I'm going to keep it short today. The big news and events are happening in a couple of days. Let's see what the future reserves. As you guys know, in these big volatility weeks, sitting down on my ends has worked very, very well. And I've seen so many leveraged players being taken out on the short side and on the long side alike. That proves to me that my decision to sometimes step aside these violent weeks ends up being good. So let's see. Waiting just like the rest of us. Would be nice to have some concrete deal or some concrete, like for example, if they say, yes, we've agreed on these main points, and we're now going to be negotiating some minor details, make sure everything is done, we should sign by late June, for example, then that would be that would be a good outcome. I'm with a feeling that something like that will happen. Call it a funny feeling. If I'm right, will I take credit? No, it's just a feeling. But if I'm wrong, feel free to destroy me in the comment section. And with that, thank you very much for your support, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.